There's a version of your life that depends entirely on how you spend your 20s, not in a dramatic overnight way, but in small, quiet decisions that don't feel important at the time. The late night orders, the impulsive purchases, the I'll figure it out later mindsets. And on the other side, the version of you that saves a little, thinks ahead, says no sometimes, even when it's uncomfortable. The strange part is, both versions feel almost the same in the moment. They go to the same places, they hang out with the same people, they live similar lives, but fast forward 10 years, and those two lives don't look anything alike. Most people think this conversation is about sacrifice. Like your 20s are supposed to be either fun or responsible. Either you enjoy your life now or you prepare for your future. And that framing is what confuses people because it makes it feel like building wealth means missing out. Like you have to say no to everything. Like you have to live small while everyone else is enjoying themselves. But that's not really what's happening. The real difference isn't between fun and discipline, it's between awareness and autopilot. Because a lot of spending in your 20s doesn't come from intention, it comes from reacting to pressure, to comparison, to emotions. And when you're not paying attention, your money quietly starts making decisions for you. Let's imagine two people. They start in the same place, same age, same income, same opportunities. At first, their lives look identical. They both work, they both go out, they both try to enjoy life, but their habits are slightly different. One of them spends most of what they earn, not irresponsibly, just naturally. They upgrade things as they go, they reward themselves often. They don't think too much about where the money's going because honestly, nothing feels urgent. The future feels far away. The other person does something small. They set aside a portion of what they earn. Not a huge amount, just something consistent. They don't avoid spending completely. They just pause a little more. They think a little longer. They make slightly more intentional choices. And at first, there's no visible difference. Both lives feel normal. But here's where things start to shift: time. Because money doesn't change your life instantly, it changes your options over time. After a few years, the first person starts to feel pressure, not because they've made terrible decisions, but because life becomes more expensive, responsibilities grow, rent increases, unexpected costs show up, work becomes more demanding, and without a cushion, every decision starts to feel heavier. Saving becomes harder, not easier, because now there's less room to adjust. Meanwhile, the second person has something small: a bit of savings, a bit of stability, not enough to feel rich, but enough to feel slightly less stressed. And that small difference matters more than people realize because stress changes how you think. When you're under pressure, you don't make long term decisions, you make short term ones. You focus on relief, and over time, that creates a gap, not just financially, but mentally. One person starts to feel stuck, like they're always catching up. The other feels a little more in control, not because they're smarter, but because they created space. And that space grows slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, until one day it's obvious one person has options, the other has obligations. So here's the shift that most people miss. Building wealth in your 20s isn't about becoming rich early, it's about reducing pressure later. It's about giving your future self breathing room because money at its core is flexibility. It's the ability to say no, to take a break, to make decisions without panic. And that doesn't come from one big moment, it comes from small, consistent choices, the kind that don't feel impressive, the kind that no one notices, but they compound, not just in your bank account, but in your peace of mind. And once you see it that way, the question changes. It's no longer, am I missing out? It becomes, what kind of life am I quietly building? So, what does this actually look like in real life? It's not extreme. You don't need to cut off everything you enjoy. You don't need to become overly strict. It's more subtle than that. It's noticing where your money goes without judging yourself. It's creating small systems that run in the background, saving a little automatically, spending a little more intentionally. It's learning to pause, not every time, but enough to break the habit of reacting. It's choosing a few things that truly matter to you and letting go of the rest. Because building wealth isn't about doing everything perfectly, it's about being slightly more consistent than average and giving time the chance to work for you. Your 20s aren't about getting everything right, they're about setting a direction. Because the truth is, you don't feel the weight of your decisions immediately, you feel them later, in your 30s, your 40s, in how much pressure you carry, in how much freedom you have. So if you're trying to figure things out right now, you're not behind. You're right where most people are. The only difference is whether you stay on autopilot or start making small intentional shifts. Because the life you end up with isn't built in big moments, it's built in quiet ones. And the good news is, you don't need to change everything. Just something, a little more awareness, a little more consistency. And over time, that becomes a completely different life.